So, my opponent advocated the commonality of genetic diseases, but his statistic applied only to Canada, whereas we were discussing American governmental funding. So it's fairly irrelevant. Also, he claimed that 40% of hospital work in Canada deals with genetic diseases, but that is not to say that it is purely treatment. The statistics does not state that 40% of hospital admissions are related to genetic causes. According to the University of Kansas Medical Center, in the US, only 12% of hospital admissions are related to genetic causes. Therefore, genetic diseases are not as common as the opposition made them appear. Furthermore, as for the example of the deaf and autistic communities, they are by no means easily overcoming their disabilities. For example, deaf people have no, or many deaf people have no desire to overcome it, as they are embracing it as a culture. That was the point. Truthfully, they have no interest in overcoming deafness. Their pride, therefore, comes not from conquering their abnormality, but from embracing it. Also, sign language does not defeat deafness either. It is one of the unique creations that arose from the individuality of these people. Continuing on, my opponent claimed that there is no purpose in medicine if natural selection is favored for genetic advancement. Of course, medicine saves lives, but human genetic engineering goes beyond medicine. Its goal is not just to save lives, but to design them. Medicine is used to help people, but if we take control of genetic engineering and human adaptation and evolution, we endanger our entire species. That is why, in this case, natural selection is preferable to human intervention. As stated by the National Human Genome Research Institute, such modifications in human beings raise the possibility that we are changing not merely a single individual, but a host of future individuals as well, with potential for harm to occur to those individuals and perhaps to humanity as a whole. Now, in extension of solvency, not only would genetic engineering fail to solve the genetic problems, it would create them. There are certain genes that, under certain circumstances, produce genetic diseases, but under others have very beneficial effects. According to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, in 1949, the elucidation of the genetic basis for sickle cell anemia and the sickle cell trait, and the demonstration of the involvement of an abnormal hemoglobin in the disease formed a link between genes and molecules. At the same time, medical scientists working in Africa suggested that sickle cell gene carriers were resistant to falciparum malaria. What this means is, despite the malignant nature of sickle cell anemia, the heterozygous gene that is related to the disease can grant a resistance to malaria. Now, there are many other phenomena like this that we do not yet understand. We didn't even know that, we still don't know the full extent of how this works. According to the Brigham and Women's Hospital from Harvard University, the precise mechanism by which sickle cell trait imparts resistance to malaria is unknown. A number of factors likely are involved and contribute in varying degrees to the defense against malaria. Now, if we do not know things like this, how can we be expected to determine which genes are okay to eliminate from a population and which genes are okay to keep? We simply are not mature enough in our understanding yet to make those kinds of calls. Therefore, if we were to progress with our research and eliminate genes that we determine to be fatal, we could be inadvertently destroying genetic strengths as well. All of this demonstrates why natural selection is a more effective, safer process for evolution than human genetic engineering, and thus creating, yeah. That's it. Thank you.